Blah. Hello.
Oh, hey, Ned. How's it going?
Why are you at my table? Who are you guys?
I'm sure you're wondering why I brought you here today.
Yes.
Green Echo Delta is ready for the cuddles.
Yes, she is.
What is your name?
My name is Ned Burry. Also, if you want my full name, it's actually Edward Stanton Burry.
Last time we did a coffee date with Joe. What are we doing here?
Well, as you can see, we are doing a frozen Mountain Dew date with me. So, it's definitely not coffee. I love coffee. Absolutely adore coffee. But hey, Mountain Dew at Taco Bell, especially Baja Blast, it's just as good.
What's with the getup?
What get up?
You look like a spy.
It's called Inspector Gadget.
So you watched Inspector Gadget as a kid?
I loved it. The cartoon, not the live action movie. That sucked.
Who is your patron saint and why?
My patron saint would be St. George. He is the patron saint of England, which is where most of my family hails from. St. George is also freaking awesome because he slayed a dragon.
Was it a real dragon?
Yes. Although, okay, just to go ahead and get into some theories about it, one thing I actually get really annoyed with when it comes to the legend of St. George is a lot of people like to say that the dragon was actually just this huge army that he defeated, which I'm just going to go ahead and say that's complete bull. And people who like to go ahead and use that theory is just because they don't like to believe in dragons and they're bums. But if we're actually going to go about from an actual spiritual standpoint, the dragon could have very easily been some demon or incarnation of Satan or something of that sort, which he was able to defeat through the help of God, which is what I tend to lean more towards. But hey, it's also possible it could have been a real dragon. Who knows?
Describe your ideal date.
Pizza in the movie. Best date ever. Just saying. Oh, and make sure it's a horror movie on top of that.
So it's not like January 27th or anything?
No, it's not January 27th. No.
What is your star sign?
I don't know.
You're an Aquarius. Moving on.
Then you know that awkward moment when your fiance knows more about you than you yourself do.
What is your favorite sport to play?
Fencing, actually. When I grew up, I didn't really care about a lot of ball sports. I didn't care about football. I didn't care about baseball unless I was playing it with my family, but I really loved sword fighting. My mother looked in the papers and she was actually able to find that there was someone teaching fencing at our local Y, so I went over there and took up fencing. I actually won one tournament, got a gold medal. It was a lot of fun. It's the only sport that you can stab people and get away with it.
Okay, what's the weirdest name you've ever heard?
For myself,
Sure, let's go with that.
Nedlikins, also Neddy Bear.
Well, that one's easy.
Yes, but it was still strange to me. By the way, these are names that my fiance has not given me. These were by my previous fangirls.
Tell us about your fangirls, Ned.
Oh, they're fun. Moving on.
You were in a band. Talk about that.
Okay, so it didn't really amount to anything. I was in a rock/metal band, kind of. I was the lead singer of the band, and I was also the lead lyricist. I wrote all the songs for the band. We didn't amount to anything, really. We mainly were just kind of remained a garage band, but we did play for a few masses, which I actually have a really funny story about that. One time our priest found out that I had a band inside of the youth group, and he asked if we would be willing to play for a youth mass. And then I tried explaining to him, you do know we're a metal band, right? Or at least a rock band. He's like, yeah, you'll be fine. And so when I approached my band about it, I said, guys, so I got us a gig. You'll never believe it, but it was for a Catholic mass. And yeah, we're toning everything heavily down. Then one time when we were practicing for the mass, it was only us and Father, and when he came in, he said, hey, I'd like to hear one of your own original songs, or at least like a little bit of it. So we started playing it, which there was some like screamo stuff in there. And he said, I really love the lyrics. Please don't ever sing that again.
Joe has this weird talent where he can clasp his hands and spin them from his back to his front. Do you have any weird physical talents?
The only one that I can think of right now is that I'm actually double jointed in both of my thumbs.
You have been outside of the country. Tell me about the time you went to Peru.
So when I went to Peru, I went to with a bunch of other creationist scientists, and we went exploring like a bunch of ruins. We went to go look at the Ecostones, which are a bunch of stones which have ancient drawings of people on them doing like lots of different things, like such as stargazing, surgeries, including even brain surgery, even like them hunting dinosaurs and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's really kind of cool. We also explored like lots of different ruins. And by the way, fun story. So you guys know that, I'm a huge horror fanatic, but oddly enough, I'm also one of the most easily scared people on the face of this earth. One of my phobias actually came to fruition when I was in Peru. My group and I, we were walking around and we were exploring this one ruin. I was really tired because we had been like walking around like forever. And so I leaned up against this wall and I just wasn't paying any attention to my surroundings or anything. And finally, the tour guide started yelling at me in Spanish, and I'm just like, okay, I have no idea what you're saying. So he like lightly grabbed me by the arm and then led me away from the wall. And he said, no, let's not harm the little fellows. And I looked, and the entire wall was covered with webs and black widow spiders. So needless to say, I definitely developed arachnophobia from that day forward. It's very hard for me to watch The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Talk a bit about your love of giant Japanese monsters.
So guys, I really, really love anything to do with kaiju, which is basically big giant monsters. They're mainly Japanese monsters though. I love everything from King Kong, anything to do with Godzilla, Gamera, who is basically a knockoff of Godzilla, except for the fact that he's a giant turtle who flies around. I love all that stuff. I own most of the movies. When I was a kid, I didn't really know a lot about Godzilla, although I did know who he was. I watched a few of his movies, but I didn't really know a lot about him. I don't really know why my mom didn't really continue introducing me more to like Godzilla stuff, but she did introduce me to Gamera, who is more kid-friendly than Godzilla, even though there's plenty of very kid-friendly Godzilla movies. And Gamera was very kid-friendly. He was the guardian of the universe and the savior of all children and all that. It was probably just like a cutesy, kinder version of Godzilla, which is why I think I grew up more on Gamera than I did on Godzilla. But, ever since like going to college and everything, I started collecting all the movies and started watching all of them. I even have like a whole bunch of books that I started reading about Godzilla and stuff. So who knows? Maybe I might do a few videos on parables of the film industry about Godzilla and my love of them.
Dunkin' or Starbucks?
Dunkin'. 100%. Why? Because I'm a New Englander. And us New Englanders have to stick with Dunkin'.
How has St. Joseph affected your life?
Quite majorly, actually. Back in Franciscan, I joined a household called the Apprentices of St. Joseph. They were a bunch of really amazing people. And I didn't really think much of St. Joseph earlier in my teenage years. But then when I went to college and went to Franciscan, I actually got a much more deeper appreciation for him, especially after joining the Apprentices. Fun fact, I was actually with someone like way before SIDA when I did start going to college, and I really wanted to marry her and have a good godly relationship with her and everything. One of the best ways I thought to do that would be to get closer to St. Joseph, who was ultimately, I think, the best father and husband figure you could possibly get to. So that's one of the reasons why I joined the Apprentices of St. Joseph, because I wanted to become a more godlier man for my future wife, whoever it was to be. And obviously, it's led me to SIDA, which I'm very happy about.
What's your favorite color?
Black, like my soul.
What is your favorite fruit?
Apples.
Tell us your favorite story about apples.
When I was a kid, I always called apples my midnight snack, even though I never ate them at midnight, because every night before I went to bed, my dad would always cut them up into slices and always peel the skin off and everything, and always give them to me before I went to bed.
Which kind of apple is your favorite?
Oh, Granny Smith all the way.
I thought your favorite would be apple cider.
Not sour enough.
If you had to have a different major in college, what would a different major be?
Probably drama and acting.
What was your major in college?
I was a communication arts major in television and radio, and I also minored in film studies.
What was your least favorite film that you had to watch for school?
2, actually. last year at Marienbad, which was a French surrealist kind of film, and 2001, A Space Odyssey. I admit that is a marvelous film, an extremely beautifully artistic film, but God, I hate it because Dr. Schaefer made me watch it 4 times.
Are you excited for God's Not Dead 3?
No.
We're going to see The Star tomorrow. Are you excited?
Just to go ahead and get one thing straight, I'm excited to go ahead and see The Star with my friends, simply to go ahead and have a fun time, review it, so on and so forth. What I am not happy about, and I'm actually very angry about, is the fact The Star has a bigger Rotten Tomatoes score than freaking Justice League, and that does not make me happy.
When I did my coffee date with Joe, he would drink in between questions, and you haven't had anything, so you should drink.
I like talking.
You have recently revamped your own personal channel. You did this amazing thing where for the first 13 days of October, you posted a review every single day so you could get up to Friday the 13th in October, which is super exciting and a huge commitment to that. Tell us a bit about your goals for your channel coming up soon.
I really want to devote more of myself to my own personal channel. Don't worry, I'm not leaving NCG or anything. But I really want to dedicate myself to doing a lot more movie reviews and being able to go ahead and revamp my Christian analysis series for being able to analyze more secularized movies and being able to find Christian themes in them. And also, I really want to try and shoot forward my new show that I made, Valley of Death, which focuses on me specifically reviewing horror movies, but in a more comedic fashion. So I am really excited about doing that again. The Friday the 13th reviews are actually what was part of my Valley of Death series. That was a lot of fun to film. Probably one of my favorite things I filmed for my channel was actually the intro for Valley of Death. It was so much fun to film and edit that, simply because it's cheesy and corny with me walking through a graveyard and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited to get my personal channel back on the road, as it were.
What's your favorite NCG movie review that you've done?
That's a tough one. If I were to pick maybe 2, I would probably pick the Risen one, because that was when we all kind of came back for the semester. We were all energized and so excited to be able to do stuff again. So it was really great to really get back into that and seeing all of our interactions with everything. And so many people missed my Batman jokes on the Risen panel, and it made me so sad. And he's going with the white horses and everything. The first thing that came to my mind was Christian Bale saying, do the horses come in black? You haven't seen Batman Begins.
If I did, it was a long time ago.
I think my second favorite one, though, is definitely reviewing Silence. And that's simply because, although Joe and I might not see eye to eye on some topics, we are good friends, and I really love being able to discuss our differences about Silence and seeing the difference in opinions and being able to cordially and nicely talk about them.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Balloons or celery?
Balloons.
Lobster or shrimp?
Shrimp.
Books or Kindle?
Oh, books.
Joe or Renee? Red or green?
Red.
Going to the zoo or going to Chuck E. Cheese?
Chuck E. Cheese. So, thank you for joining us for Mountain Dew date with Ned. I know you guys have been asking for it for a little while. I'm very glad that you guys were able to get to know me a little bit more. If you guys want, go ahead and subscribe to NCG because we're flipping awesome. And also, if you guys want to ask me any more questions that were not asked on here, or just want to go ahead and leave comments in general, comment on the comment section below. And also, if you guys can, we would be very honored. Obviously, you guys don't have to, and you can vote for whoever you want. But if you guys want, we've been nominated for the Fisher's Net Award. And if you guys can, we would be so grateful if you guys could vote for New Catholic Generation. And that's basically about it. I love you guys, and God bless.